Well, hey, you guys, welcome to the Pointe Worldview podcast. It's a podcast that's designed to take you as a parent or guardian deeper into places your students already gone. It's a special summer camp edition where our middle schoolers and high schoolers were away at summer camp. And now I'm joined with the wonderful, the lovely, the brilliant Pastor Trey Shigley. Welcome, Trey. I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
Yeah, this is super cool because we're working our way through the morning sessions that you guys had with the students were worldview based, and in particular about how to be an ambassador for Christ, which is like the most crucial, important thing to discuss. I think it's helpful for students for sure, but I know I'm learning a bunch as well, as you guys are diving in on this for our benefit too. Remind listeners what the focus of this series is about and what was the main point of this fourth lesson.
Yeah, so this series is all about being an ambassador of Christ. So how do we represent him and his kingdom to the people in our lives?
Yep.
And so the previous sessions we've covered, why should you be an ambassador? What does that mean? What's the importance of having relationships with people and friendships and kind of making that the context of spiritual conversations. And then the importance of asking questions and how you can use questions to help someone reflect on their own beliefs or to connect with someone or to make a point. And so questions are kind of this secret of having great spiritual conversations, one that Jesus modeled for us. And then in this lesson, we just gave kind of a shotgun approach of like 20 tips.
Yeah, because this was kind of the wrap up, right?
Yeah,
this is
like,
the end of the week.
Absolutely. So it's like, here are kind of all these things that are helpful. Some we covered a little bit already, and some are just new. But it's 20 tips. But then it's also, how do you practice and get better at this? And then we ended with a little bit of kind of inspiration because sharing your faith can be really hard. Being an ambassador can be really hard.
Totally.
So we address that as well.
That's super good. So you started out by giving these 20 helpful tips to keep in mind when sharing your faith. You want to give us like the overview of the tips and then maybe highlight just a couple of them for us?
Yeah. I'll go through them, and the ones that are my favorite, I might spend a little extra time on.
Okay, that sounds good.
The first one is trust God to work. God saves and not you. And I think this is just so important because we, again, can put so much pressure on ourselves.
Yep.
But Paul reminds us in Scripture, like, hey, some of us plant seeds, some of us water seeds, but it's God who makes it grow.
Yep. What's your job? What's God's job?
Exactly.
Don't confuse the two.
Exactly. And when you take that pressure off, it's like, all right, you're just going to be obedient and leave the rest up to God. Another tip was don't wait until you think you're fully prepared. Share your faith now.
Awesome.
And I can fall into this trap, right?
Yep.
It's like, man, I feel like I got to have it all perfect and planned out. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Stay calm no matter what. Be gracious and kind, maybe even a little funny. Don't be afraid to make fun of yourself.
Yep.
So that's important. Another tip, ask questions and be interested in the other person. So we talked about asking questions, but that comes out of an interest in the other person.
Yep.
Really care about the other person. That's kind of similar there. And then keep it simple. Focus on Christian essentials. So many times we can get caught up on things that just aren't core to Christianity. And they might be important, but they're not essential.
Yeah.
And so try to steer people towards, okay, I know you may have a hang up there, but let's get back to like Jesus,
Right.
And so focus on the Christian essentials. And then tip 8 here, avoid unfamiliar religious language.
Yeah.
Make things clear. And we did a fun exercise in the room where I said, okay, partner up, and I'm going to say a word, and I want you to explain it to your partner. And it's really funny because some of these words we just take for granted.
Yeah.
And so the first one I started off with was small group. And everyone's like, small group? Like, why would we have to explain that? I'm like, well, think about it. If you've never been in church, the phrase small group is just a group that's not big.
Right,
like,
exactly.
There's no context for that. And so things like the Gospels or born again or even Lord. Like when we say, oh, my Lord and Savior Jesus, what does Lord mean?
Yeah.
And I define it just as leader. He's the boss.
Right.
He tells me what to do and I do it. That's what Lord means. But we say Lord and we don't actually explain it. So try to avoid this religious language, things like faith or repentance or sin or grace. If you use them, at least explain them.
Yeah.
Or find another way to say it, just in a more kind of friendly way. Tip 9 here is give reasons for believing Christianity. So learn your Bible, learn apologetics. It's good to ask questions, but at the end of the day, you should have some answers.
You've got to actually have some substance to talk about. Yeah.
Yep. Tip 10, focus on the personal benefits of Christianity and not just the truth. And so it is a very valid thing to talk to people and say, one of the benefits and one of the reasons you should be a Christian is because it actually changes your life, or it gives you peace, or it gives you joy.
Yeah.
Like, you want to share truth and facts and reasons, but you should also share how it's changed you and how it makes you feel, because those are valid and important reasons as well. Christianity really does meet our deepest needs.
Yeah.
Tip 11, don't give up when you're challenged. Hang in there. Don't run away from hard questions. Tip 12, this is a big one. Don't make stuff up. Like, just be real. Admit when you don't know something. Yes. And this is really interesting. I think this is a great perspective shift. If you get stumped with something, it's actually a blessing in disguise. Because it gives you kind of a few big benefits. One is you gain trust by being honest and authentic. By saying, that's a great question. I'm not sure I know what I would say to that.
Right.
Can I, look into that more?
Right.
And that gains respect. Right?
Yeah.
But another huge benefit, and this ties into our next question, or our next tip, tip 13, get back to them on things you don't know how to answer. And so what's beautiful about not knowing the answer to something is that it's an automatic setup for another spiritual conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
You can say, I'm actually going to look into that. I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to Google a few things. And I'll get back to you on that.
Right.
And then next week or next class or whatever, you can say, hey, I looked into that a little bit more. I actually have a few thoughts now. Can we talk about that again?
Yeah.
And so getting stumped isn't something to fear. It's actually this gift of further spiritual conversations. And if you view it that way, I think that can change everything. Tip 14, it's okay if you don't lead them to Christ on the spot.
Yeah.
And we've shared lots of stories of people coming to Christ, and it's over years of friendship with someone. And you don't know who you are on their journey to becoming a Christian.
Right.
You could be the first conversation they're having on the 50 that they need, or you could be the very last one.
Right.
And so what we talk about, and this is in Greg Kokel's Tactics book, is you want to kind of put, it's like putting a pebble in their shoe. It's like, give them something to think about, something that bothers their worldview a little bit.
Yeah.
And as they keep walking, it's just a little uncomfortable. They're like, do I really believe that? Or, man, why do I believe that?
Yeah.
And so give them something to just keep rubbing at them.
Yeah.
Tip 15, don't be pushy. Let the other person walk away.
That's good.
And one of my favorite books is a book by Richard Wurmbrand called Tortured for Christ. And he was witnessing to communist soldiers. And one of them said to him, he's like, the most beautiful thing about Jesus is that he's polite. He's like, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, in communism, if the government wants something, they take it. If they tell you to do something, you have to do it. He's like, but Jesus, he's polite. He stands at the door and he knocks. And if you don't let him in, he won't force his way in. And I think that's a beautiful example.
Especially for their worldview and context.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. So I think that's a beautiful thing about Jesus, and we should be the same to other people. Tip 16, try to leave the person with a resource. So maybe a website they can go learn more, or a book, or your contact info. Like something that if they want more, they can get more. Tip 17, live out your faith. Again, don't be a hypocrite. Actions speak louder than words. It's simple, but hard to do and important. Tip 18, share your testimony. And we had a whole breakout session on how to share a testimony Worldview interns, Jake and Wyatt, did an amazing job.
We've got a good
leading that
episode
breakout.
interviewing both of them, too,
Yep.
to check out, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Tip 19, pray for opportunities. I think that's something we don't do enough, is we should ask God to bring people into our lives or to start conversations where we can turn the conversation to Him.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've found is when I start praying for opportunities, all of a sudden you see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Because you're more attuned to God and what He's doing. And so that's really, really important. And then tip 20, if possible, follow up and encourage them and disciple them once they accept Christ.
Awesome.
And so that's an important step as well. So that was our 20 tips. And
I think that covers most of the bases.
Right. It's a lot of good stuff.
I like that a lot. Well, then you move from that then to kind of some actual strategies for how you can practice to get better at sharing your faith, which is like, that's a real deal because most of us don't do it. Mm-hmm. And like anything, you get better with reps. And so talk about some of those strategies that you gave.
Yeah. I love messing with students when they're like, I'm just not good at that.
Yeah.
And I like saying like, well, it'd be kind of weird if you were.
Yeah, totally.
And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, how would you be good at it?
Right.
Like, you have to practice to be good at things.
Right.
And I remember my homiletics or like my preaching professor in college. He's like, your first 100 sermons are going to stink.
Yeah.
Just get them out of the way as fast as possible.
Yes.
And there's some truth to that.
Yes,
like, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up. You're going to say things. You're like, oh, that was not the right thing to say. You're going to miss opportunities.
Yep.
But you practice. That's how you get good at anything.
Right.
And so here's a few ways we can do that. The first one is anticipate. Think of questions someone might ask, and then think through how would you answer it. And I would encourage people, like, are there a few questions that you're like, I hope no one ever asks me that question? Like, I would never want to talk about, God and suffering. Yeah. Or I would never want to talk about, how maybe some people never get to hear about Jesus, like someone witnessed to them. If there are questions where you're like, you squirm thinking of them, tackle those questions and dive deeper into them so that you feel like you would know how to at least talk about them. So anticipate. And then another one is reflect. So after a faith conversation or a spiritual conversation with someone, think through like, what went well? What could I have done better? If a friend was there, ask them for their feedback. Yeah. It's just reflecting like athletes do watching game film, Totally. You and I, Ron, have done this with our sermons. And it's painful.
It's very painful.
It's like, oh my goodness. But it's how you get better. It's how you not make the same mistakes over and over again. It's always okay to make new mistakes, is what my dad always told me. Yeah. But just don't make the same mistakes. And then the third one is just practicing. And there's great ways to do that. It's practicing with a friend, or you can practice, I love, with Chat GPT. You can ask it to be like, hey, can you do a friendly debate with me on this question? Can you take the role of an atheist student and we have a back and forth conversation? Yeah. And it's awesome.
That's cool. That's fascinating.
It's a safe way.
Yep.
And because of just how AI works, it's going to generate kind of like just essentially the most commonly used lines.
Awesome.
And it's going to be really useful. And so I've used that for things, and it's awesome.
Super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're on social media or on TikTok or whatever, go to like people or hashtags where they're talking against Christianity, play a video, and then think, okay, how would I respond? Or watch like a debate between a Christian and a Muslim or a Christian and atheist and pause it before the Christian responds and think through, how would I respond?
You say? Yeah.
And so there's great videos if you want to like dive into the rabbit hole of like hashtag like deconstruction. And you can just dive into that and know that, hey, as long as you take it to Scripture, if you come to something you're like, oh my goodness, I actually don't know. Yeah. Like, bring other people into it. Right. We don't need to be afraid of hard questions. Yeah. And so that's how we kind of practice and improve there.
That's sweet. Those are all super helpful. Okay, Trey, I know you've got this thing for President Teddy Roosevelt.
Yes.
And he gave this famous speech back in 1910 you talked about. So can you tell us about that speech? What did he say?
Oh, my goodness. So I actually skipped the very first tip out of the 20.
Oh, okay.
And then I circled back around to it at the end at this point in my talk.
Okay.
And the tip number 1 is prepare, but don't fear failure.
Okay.
And this is where it's one of my favorite speeches of all time. I love Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
He's just an insane person.
Totally.
And just inspiring. But he has this speech called the Man in the Arena speech. Okay. You guys should look it up later if you have time. It's really inspiring. But I'm just going to read kind of the famous part of it here. Okay. And this is what I did with our students. But here it goes. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who actually does strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat.
That's so good.
Oh, it's amazing.
That is so good. In our like critic saturated culture, everybody's got an opinion and throwing rocks at everybody.
Yes.
I love that so
much.
And
I just saw a quote yesterday, stumbled upon a quote, and it said, "I've never seen a statue of a critic."
Yeah.
And that's so true. And yet there's so many Christians in our world who just sit on the sidelines.
Yeah.
They're afraid to get in the game.
Yeah.
And they're afraid to mess up or make mistakes or look silly or dumb. And yet they just have to get into the arena.
Yeah.
To strive valiantly.
Yeah.
And because we don't want to be those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about being an ambassador, one of the biggest barriers is this fear. Mm-hmm. This fear of not being a good representative or looking silly or like all these other things.
Or you yourself being criticized, because the minute that you do stand for something, then people can put the crosshairs on you too.
Absolutely. And we share this thing with students. Ron, I don't know if you've ever read the book, One Thing You Can't Do in Heaven. Mm-mm. It's a book about evangelism.
Awesome.
But there's this amazing kind of breakdown on sharing your faith. And so I ask students, okay, there's only 3 ways a conversation about Jesus can go when you're sharing your faith. Number 1, they become a Christian.
Yeah.
And I ask the students, is that a win or a loss? And they're like, oh, that's a win. Yeah. Right? Okay. Yeah. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
The second way it could go is that they don't become a Christian, but they're open for further conversation.
Yeah. Also
okay.
A win.
So that's a win, right? And then I ask the third way. There's only 3 ways things can go. Right. Is that they reject you, they don't want to have any more conversations. Yeah. Maybe they even make fun of you or whatever. And then I ask students, is that a win? And they're like, I don't know. Some of them say like maybe, some say no. Yeah. I'm like, even if it was a loss, a 2 out of 3 chance is great. But here's what Jesus says. He says, blessed are you when people reject you and when they revile you and insult you and say all sorts of things about you for my name. Yeah. Great is your reward in heaven. Yeah. And so actually that third scenario is a win as well.
That's cool.
And when you share your faith and you're rejected, you're actually racking up rewards in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can kind of give yourself a little cha-ching.
Yeah.
Because God is saying, great is your reward.
Yeah.
And so it's a win. It's what they call in the book the win-win-win scenario. There's no way to lose when you're sharing your faith. Yeah. As long as you do it with gentleness and respect and love. Yeah. And so I think that is just so huge. And so we challenge students to have a faith conversation with at least one person this next month. And that's kind of the challenge we put towards them.
I love that. Yeah. That's super. That's a great challenge. And the dogs barking in the background is an alert that Dr. Zach Breitenbach has entered the building.
He's on his way.
And will be here shortly.
To enlighten us.
Exactly. The IQ will elevate instantly. So you ended with a challenge to the students.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So Jesus himself gave his disciples a challenge. And so we made it practical for our students. We said, start a spiritual conversation. But we tied it into the Great Commission, which is Jesus gives a commandment, but then he also gives a promise. And what he commands is that all of his followers should go out and make more followers, make more disciples, baptize people, teach them. But then he gives them this promise. And he says, I will be with you always to the very end of the age. And what's beautiful about this is that at camp, we did worldview sessions in the morning, but in the evening, we did kind of sermons and worship sessions. And we talked about Gideon, this person in the Old Testament who was kind of a scaredy cat. And God calls him to be this mighty warrior. And he calls him while he's hiding. And he calls him mighty warrior. You know, the Lord is with you. And so our theme for camp was never alone. And so with the Great Commission, as we're called to be ambassadors, the biggest thing to remember is that we are never alone. Like, God is not far off. He's actually with us in every conversation, everywhere we go, he's with us. And so I actually ended with this kind of like back and forth thing where I had the students say, like, God is with me. God is with me. God is with me. And then I would have a phrase I would say, and they would repeat back to me, God is with me. And I thought it'd be fun to do it here on the podcast.
I'm in.
And so, Ron, if you can just say, God is with me, and then I'll kind of echo things back and forth, and you'll just echo that back to me.
That sounds good.
All right. So, Ron, what if you don't know what to do?
God is with me.
What if you aren't good at talking?
God is with me.
What if you are young?
God is with me.
What if you're old?
God is with me.
What if you aren't smart?
God is with me.
What if you don't know what to say?
God is with me.
What if you've failed before?
God is with me.
What is your friends? What if they don't go with you?
God is with me.
What if your teachers make fun of you?
God is with me.
What if your teammates laugh at you?
God is with me.
What if Satan attacks you?
God is with me.
What if demons oppress you?
God is with me.
What if you're scared?
God is with me.
What if you're depressed?
God is with me.
What if you're anxious?
God is with me.
What if you're nervous?
God is with me.
Who is with you?
God is with me.
That's right. God is with you.
That's awesome.
And that's how we ended the session. But it's just
so
this
cool.
reminder, like, God is with us.
That's so
and
cool.
when we're his ambassadors, we have nothing to fear.
That's fantastic. Well, as you know, Trey, we like to wrap up each of these episodes with a question that parents can discuss with their students. What would be a good question related to this lesson?
A good one would be, I'm struggling between two questions, so I'm going to give two.
Okay.
One would be, is there a tip that stuck out to you the most? And then the other one is, what prevents you from being an ambassador for Jesus? Because that's going to highlight a fear or an insecurity or something, and that's always good to talk about.
Awesome. That's great. Well, parents, please know that we love you. We care for you deeply and your students. We are praying for you on a weekly basis, and we hope that you're encouraged and you're reminded that God is with you as well. If you got questions about Connection Point, you can go to connectionpoint.org. That's point with an E, connectionpoint.org, or cp.news if you got questions. Otherwise, God bless you. We love you guys.